Hey there guys, my name is Nix and welcome to Steins Gate 0. Oh, I'm coming off of this pretty much almost straight away off of the bat of Steins Gate, and I just wanted more. So apparently I chose depression. From what I've heard this game is this Steins Gate 1 hits you hard. This one, oh boy. All I know is that this is set on a timeline they call the darkest timeline. I don't know what the fuck that means. Although from what I've read, I'm pretty sure a certain someone didn't make it. Nope, skip over this. Anyway, let's just go, shall we? You really had to remind me of this, didn't you? Right off the fucking bat. (2010) 21st of August. I had to think there. The hatch opened. Bright light flooded my eyes. Where was I? My eyes narrowed. I could barely make out the summer's twilight sky. I didn't want to leave. I just wanted to disappear. But someone grabbed my arm and dragged me out. Whoa, he's back already. It hasn't even been a minute, has it? Ocarina? I didn't have the energy to respond to my own nickname. I fell to the ground and wrapped my arms around myself. Ocarina! Mayuri ran to me and looked down, her face worried. But her kindness felt like nothing but a nuisance. Don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. Wait, you're covered in blood! What happened? Dad, give me a towel and water! Oh, and clothes, now! Can someone please tell me what's going on? Just do it, now! Okay. Dara ran to the door that led back inside the building. Ocarina? You okay? In there? Don't die, please. It's up, it's fine. He's not hurt. Stop it. Just get away from me. Leave me alone. I couldn't save her. In fact, I killed her myself. Right here, 3 weeks ago. I killed her. I'm a murderer. It didn't work. No matter what we do, it's not going to work. It's been decided already. It's the same. It's the same as it was with Mayuri. No matter how hard I try, it all ends up the same. No matter how many times I try, it will all converge back in the same result. The process doesn't matter. Whether you time travel or time leap, you can't go back and change the results of the past. I thought I understood that cruel truth. But now, I was forced to realize it again, and in the worst possible way. It's useless. Useless. It's all useless! I knew it. I couldn't save Kurisu. I knew this. I knew this. I already knew this would happen.
こうなるって。もう疲れた。
I'm so tired.
ずっと休んでないんだ。
I haven't rested in so long.
もういいよ。
I'm done.
オカリン、一体
Okay.
何が。
What happened?
俺が
I killed her.
殺した。
I killed her.
殺してしまった。
I'm an idiot.
バカみたい
My
だ。
fault.
マキセ・クリスをさ、
He
刺し殺しちゃっ
he
たの。
killed Makase Kurisu.
殺した。
Killed?
嘘。そんな。
Can't be true. It can't.
でも安心して。
Don't
ま
worry.
だもう一
You
回
got enough for one more
タイム
attempt.
トラベルはできる。
ほっといてくれ。
Just leave me alone.
俺のことなんか。
No matter how many times I try, it'll always end up the same.
何言ってんの？
What are you saying? Are you going to give up?
オカリンおじさんの肩には
Billions of people's lives depend on you, Uncle
か
Ocarin.
かってるんだよ。たった一回の失敗がな。
Who cares if you fail once?
クリスはどうやったって
There's
助け
just
られ
no
ない。
way to save Kurisu.
世界
You
中の
can't stop the
収
world
束
line
に
convergence.
逆らえない。
That's the reality of this world. I learned that a long time ago.
こうなったら
I just have
ビ
to
ン
slap
タして
some
でも
sense
気
into
合い
him.
直して。ダメだよ。
You can't!
無理強いするのは
It's
良く
not
な
right
い
to
よ。
force him to do this.
こんなボロボロになってるオカリン。
I can't bear to see Ocarin like this.
でもさ、
If he doesn't, the future won't change.
どうして？
Why?
どうして未来のこ
Why
と
does Ocarin have to change the future all by himself?
そんなの。
That's too much for him to bear.
オカリンおじさんには
Because only Uncle
世
Ocarin
界
has
の
the
観
powers
測
of
者として
an
の
as
能
of
力があるからだよ。
Because only Uncle Ocarin has the powers of an observer of the world.
オカリンが
Ocarin
そ
didn't
んな
want
わけ
that.
じゃないのに。それにもう一度
I
やっ
think
た
even
っ
if he
て
tried, he'd
またオ
just
カ
get
リンが
hurt
傷つ
again.
くだけだって思う未来のことを
It's impossible for one person to change the world all by themselves.
きっと無理なんだよ。だからそのため
And
の
that's what
スタン
Steins
ズゲート
Gate is.
で気持ちはわかるよ。
I know how you
でもさ
feel. But I'm here for
私
the
も
sake
未
of,
来をかけ
sake
て
of the
こ
future.
こまで来てるんだよね。どっちにしろ
I can't go back to 2036 either way. So I'm not giving up so
簡単
easily.
に諦めるつもりはないから。オカリンおじさん、
Uncle
一
Ocarin,
つだけ忠告しとく。
I'll tell you one thing.
このタイムマシン
This
に
time machine has a
残
finite
されてる
amount
燃
of
料が無限な
fuel.
の。さっきは往
At
復2
first,
回
I
分
told
し
you
か
that it could
残って
only
な
be
い
used
って
to
言
go
ってた
there
け
and
ど
back twice.
実は
But
まだ
there's
それ
actually a
なり
little
に
more
余裕
fuel
ある
than that.
それでも移動できる時
Even
間は
so, it can only travel about 344 days.
片道のタイムトラベルだとしても
Even if you do a one-way trip, less than a year from now, you won't be able to reach. You won't be able to reach July 28th.
覚えといて。
Remember
その
this.
日になったらさ、
When that day comes,
私は
I'll go in
たと
myself
え
if
一
I
人でも
must.
飛ぶよ。
Someone was saying something to me, but I couldn't understand the words. I didn't want to listen to anything. I just wanted to sleep. Just let this all end. Just let me go.
オカリン、
Ocarin?
オカリン、
Ocarin?
ね、
Hey, hey,
オカ
Ocarin.
リン、もう
You don't have to push yourself so hard anymore, okay?
泣いてもいいんだよ。
It's okay to cry,
オカリン、
Ocarin.
マユシーは
My Yushi is
そ
here
ば
for
に
you,
いるからね。
okay, Ocarin?
オカリン、
I don't know if Mayuri's words were the reason why, but the tears started to flow. I decided to forget everything. Ever since that day, I stopped going to the Future Gadget Lab. 23rd of November. UPX, the new symbol of Akihabara, was located right in front of the station. In the hall on the 4th floor, preparations have been going on all morning for the ATF the Akihabara Techno Forum convention. Universities and labs from both inside and outside the country would work together to put on special seminars and symposiums at irregular intervals. My school, Tokyo Denki University, was participating as part of its industry collaboration efforts. Students were required to attend these seminars and submit reports to their instructors. Otherwise, they wouldn't get credit for their related classes. In addition, I was supposed to help out one of the lecturers, Associate Professor Izaki. I had just gotten the list from the reception desk at the shared lobby. I was waiting to check off the names of students who were coming to the lectures. There was still some time before the seminar started, so the lobby was mostly empty. None of the students on the list were here yet. I was bored and couldn't find anything to do but wait. The old me could have never imagined doing anything like this, but impressing Izaki was part of my new goal in life. Victor Crondia? Victor Crondia. I'm gonna pronounce that. If it's wrong, let me know. Victor Crondia University. Yes, that was my new goal. Izaki did a lot of joint research projects with them and knew a lot of people there. The best first step to getting there my brain could come up with was being his assistant. Also, this convention was holding another seminar by Victor Condria University, after the one held this summer. And of course, that interested me too. Summer. Yeah, we ain't gonna forget Kurisu in a long time, are we? An image of her as she was then flashed through my mind. I was trying to get to Victor Condry so that I could learn about the work that Makase Kurisu had been doing. Yes, I know it says Kurisu Makase, don't sue me. I've always read it as Makase Kurisu. I wanted to try do it myself. Of course, I wasn't a genius like Kurisu. There was no way I'd ever be able to do exactly what she did. But if I could do even 10% of it. Honestly, I'm amazed that I've recovered so well. I thought that to myself and chuckled just as a voice called to me across from the lobby. Excuse me? I looked up and saw a young girl approaching from the elevator hall. You look too smug to be here, kid, and also too short. I don't know if I'm gonna like you or not. She was short and petite. Everything about her was small. I could make out a few of the curves that don't appear until after puberty, so at least she wasn't in elementary school, but maybe middle school? Someone with such a cute face, she clearly didn't care for her appearance. Her hair wasn't styled and it flowed back down her back. Even I could tell her clothes weren't very fashionable. Excuse me? Where's the staff room? This is the ATF seminar. Clearly not a place where a middle school girl belonged. She probably just come to the wrong place. I know that! How many times am I going to have to say this? This is the first time you've said it to me. You're the fourth person I've said it to since I got here. Oh, you have a temper. Probably because you're small. Irritated, she pulls out a card from her jacket. It was one of the IDs given out to invited guests. Her name and the name of her workplace is written on the front. Huh? Maho Hiajo. Hiajo? I'm gonna call you Maho. Victor Condria University, USA. Brain Science Institute. She knew Kurisu, didn't she? Victor Condria University. Brain Science Institute? Look at the card, then look at her. Then back at the card. Then I look at her again. I finally realized.
あ
Oh,
そういうことか
so that's it.
そのカードどこ
Where'd
に
you find this card? Thanks for bringing it back.
その話も4
I've
回目
done
よ
that 3 times too. She sighs and shows me another card. This one was a photo ID from Victor Crondria University.
Yeah?
Huh? It was the same ID I'd seen Kursu holding before on another world line. The photo on the card. Yeah, that was definitely her.
ヒヤジョウマホって読むの
Maho Hyejo.
私の名前
That's my name, Maho Hyejo.
漢字でも
I'll say it to you now because nobody's ever been able to read it right. Not in English or Japanese.
えっと
You're from Victor Crondria University Middle School?
中
寝ぼけるなら夜に
Stop
して
messing around. Universities don't have middle schools.
それもそうだな
That's true.
じゃあ
Then you skipped a bunch of grades? Unlike in Japan, it wasn't uncommon for Americans to skip grades. Kursu made it to university at age 17. Is that a thing? I don't know. We don't do that in the UK. At least not that I'm aware of. Being in a rough area, I didn't see many prodigies. But still. A girl this young working in a university lab?
一つ確認していいかしら
Can I ask you something?
おう
Sure. I don't know what kind of voice to give her. I have a limited amount of female voices. And to be honest, Steins Gate, the original, stretched me and I had to do 5. I don't know if I can bear to do anymore. Granted, I was about to say granted, Kurisu's not here. Yeah, I know.
あなた今少なから
You're
ず
feeling
衝
pretty
撃を
shocked
受け
right
てる
now,
わ
right?
ねこんな小さい子が
Let me guess.
信じられない
A small child like this. I can't believe it, right?
それともこの
Are you
年
one
齢
of
です
the
ごい
she must be amazing to do that at her age types? She got me.
高校をよく見なさい
Look here. Closely. The concerning thing written on that ID is like, it says 1989. This girl is older than I am. That is concerning. The girl, Maho Hyejo, pointed to the part of the ID with her slender fingers. She was born in 1989, and it was 2010, so... Oh shit, you're like 21?
21歳
You're 21 years old?
つまり立派な成
In
人
other words, I'm an adult woman.
中学生
Not a middle
じ
school.
ゃない
I'm not in
の
middle
小学
school.
生でも幼稚園児
And
でも
of course, not in elementary school or daycare either. And then she puffed out her chest. That wasn't much to see, but I could imagine her saying, "They look bigger when I'm not wearing clothes. They're huge."
何かしらその顔は
What's that look supposed to mean?
あいや
Oh,
わ
no.
かったわ
Sorry.
謝る
I apologize. I couldn't believe it. She's older than me. If Dara were here, he'd be dancing around and screaming, "Legal lolly for the win." Ah, it's good to see Dara's not changed.
まあいいわ
It
世界
doesn't
中ど
matter,
こへ
I
行っても同
guess.
じ目に遭ってるから
I got the same thing all around the world, no matter where I go.
うんそうだろうな
Yeah, I'm sure.
何か言った
Did you say something?
あいや別に
No, I didn't. Still, the Brain Science Institute? That's where Kurisu worked. Which means this kid, no, this person might know a lot about Kurisu. I held back the impulse to start badgering her with questions. I look at the pamphlet with the seminar schedules. Victor Crondria's lecture was the last one of the day, and was clearly intended to be the biggest. Was this Maho Hyejo girl going to give the lecture? Just like Kurisu had done at the summer convention. No, wait. That's wrong, that never happened. Makase Kurisu never gave any lectures over the summer. That happened in the Alpha World line. Yeah, if you're watching this, I hope you know what happened in Steins Gate, because we ain't fucking explaining it here. We gotta go get depressed. In the world I inhabited now, before the summer convention, she'd already...
君が今日登壇を
Are you giving the lecture today?
いいえ私は助手として来た
I'm
の
here as an assistant.
あと通訳
Oh,
の
and translated too.
I look at the pamphlet again and saw the lecturer was... The lecturer was a man named Alexis Lexington. I can't fucking... Why is it the non-English names I'm struggling with? Leskinen. Alexis Leskinen. Oh god, he's Russian. Alexis Leskinen. A professor at Victor Kondria University and the chief researcher at the Brain Science Institute.
テーマは人工知能革命
Topic is the artificial intelligence revolution, huh?
面白そうだ
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
時間があったらぜひ聞いて
If
み
you've
て
got
ほ
the
しい
time, I'd love to hear you come listen.
そうするよ
I will.
スタッフルームだってな
The staff room, right? I'll lead Maho over to the elevator and show her where the staff room
あり
was.
がとう
Thanks.
I have no reason to hang around her any further. I said goodbye and was just about to turn around. Just then, the elevator opened and a woman emerged. The instant I saw her face, every hair on my body stood on end. Oh Christ, it's you! What are you doing here? I did not want to see you today! Kiryu Moeka? It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. Calm down. This is the Beta World line. Mayuri is alive. Moeka's not going to kill her. Our eyes met. The eyes on the other side of her glasses were as dead as ever, and it was impossible to tell what she was thinking. I frantically averted my gaze before she realized something was wrong. She tilted her head for a second, but quickly lost interest in me and turned towards Maho.
あの
Um,
あ
oh,
あ雑誌社
you're
の
with the
方でした
magazine,
よね
right?
お約束通り
I'm
主
here
催を
about that interview.
Even in this world line, Moeka still only spoke in faint whispers.
レスキネン教授はまだなんです
Dr. Leskinen
少
isn't
し
here
お
yet.
待たせしてしまいますけど
It may be a minute.
はい
Okay.
それまで私
If
で
you
よ
want,
け
I
れ
can go
ば
over the
システム
system
の
until
内
he
容でも
gets here.
お願いします
Thank you.
The two of them disappeared into the staff room. As I watched them leave, I took a deep breath. I tried to calm down, but it wasn't working.
桐生萌か
Kiryu Moeka.
もしかして
Is it going to be you
ま
again?
たお前なのか
It was a terrible feeling, like a cold finger tracing the wounds in my heart. That night when the terrorist threat shut down all the trains in Akihabara. That awful night when I just knew something was going to happen.
ここでもまた
Are you going to do it
my God.
again? Here? Or was I just imagining things? Was she just a magazine reporter now, instead of a CERN rounder? No. Even if Moeka was a rounder, we had nothing to do with CERN anymore. CERN wouldn't be watching us. I took another deep breath, grabbed some of the anxiety meds in my pocket and swallowed them with some mineral water I brought ahead of time. Oh, God, that's, yeah, that's not a good sign. It took about 15 minutes for them to kick in. Those 15 minutes were always pretty rough. I laughed at myself a little and sat down at one of the reception desk's chairs. Is this my new I'm getting a text? The table was filled with leaflets, pamphlets, and other things for the attendees. Oh! We got smartphones now. Hey, Mayuri. How's life? Ocarine, how are things going with Mr. Seminar? Yeah, no problem. That was a little accident. I'm not sure. It's fine. Achievements.
I see. That's great.
I can't wait to see what kind of seminar it will be.
Ayushi wishes she could have seen it too.
It may be a little too hard for you to follow. Oh my god, that's adorable.
You're right. Okay, I don't want to get in your way. Bye.
She's adorable. Also, thank Christ we were upgraded to fucking smartphones and not flip phones. My eyes wandered to one of the pamphlets. Nakabachi Theory and the Genealogy of Pseudoscience. This pamphlet was for Professor Izaki's seminar. Nakabachi Theory. The paper he'd announced in Russia. The paper held the key to creating a real time machine. On that day, July 28th, Nakabachi had stolen the paper from Kurisu, his own daughter, and left with it. I knew that. Only Nakabachi and I knew that. I flipped through the pamphlet. It was a brief introduction to the many forms of pseudoscience and fake scientific discoveries that had emerged since the start of the 20th century. On its own, it did make for an interesting read. At the end of the pamphlet, Nakabachi Theory was introduced as nothing more than another entry in that long list of fakes. So Dr. Nakabachi's time machine theory had been completely ignored by the academic world. All the glory, fame, and power he'd wanted so badly that he was willing to get rid of his own daughter, he didn't have any of it. And I've heard rumors that after the announcement he'd been imprisoned in a Russian lab. To make it even funnier, he thought he was getting VIP treatment. For a short time, there were essays and interviews in bogus academic journals. Even there, it was obvious it had all gone to his head. The ironic thing was that Nakabachi Theory was completely correct and completely revolutionary. The Russian government was worried about it leaking, and the SVR was doing everything it could do to keep it under wraps. But under the surface, there was a full-scale information war beginning over the paper. A time traveler from 2036, John Titor, had told me so, which meant it had to be true. Was World War III really going to happen? There was no point in thinking about it. This music's real good, like already. Just a little more before the drugs kick in. I closed my eyes. Several hours later, the convention was going well. After Professor Izaki's seminar, most of the students from my university went home, but I killed some time and came back. I wanted to hear the Victor Condria lecture. I headed to the hall with plenty of time to spare and saw Maho Hiesho coming out of the staff room. She was with a very tall foreigner. Was that Alexis Leskinen? It didn't seem like a very American name, but maybe he was an immigrant like Kurisu, or at very least descended from one. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the looks on their faces were so serious that I couldn't help but listen. Since they were both speaking in English, I could barely make any of it. But I could tell from their voices that it wasn't a pleasant chat. Wait, did I just hear the word Makase? I hate the fact that I couldn't speak English. If I'd known this was going to happen, I would have gone to the English school. The two of them walked into the waiting room for lectures. It was located right next to the UPX theater. I put together the few fragments I was able to understand. Fire at Kurisu's house. Mrs. Makase is alright. Robbery. The police called off the investigation. Why was the FBI there? It doesn't make sense. Oh my god, they were ram raiding the place for time travel research! I think that's what they were saying. Kurisu's house? Do they mean where she lived in America? Her mother should still live in America. Is that where the fire was? And then the words like robbery and the investigation was called off. I really wanted to know more. As I stood there and worried about it until it was time for the lecture to begin. With nothing else to do, I went inside the theater. I could tell earlier by looking at the size of the crowds it was going inside, but it was a very high energy crowd. The atmosphere was clearly different than Izaki's seminar, which was mostly students there for credit. The place was nearly full with a crowd of scientists and people who wanted to learn about the cutting-edge technology. Victor Crondria's research had published a slate of papers in Science recently, and they got a lot of media attention. Maybe that was why. Were there any empty seats? I found a single open seat at the edge. I swear... Oh, didn't I just read that? Where's the log feature? Huh. But when I looked at who was sitting next to me, I moaned. It's Moeka, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I freaking thought it would be. You again? Kiryu Moeka was there. She was speaking to no one, just typing endlessly into her phone. I'd once named her Shining Finger because of her incredible typing speed, and she was as fast as ever. Who was she talking to? I didn't even want to imagine. I quickly turned away and looked for another seat. Dr. Leskinen reached the podium almost the exact instant I sat down. There was a huge wave of applause. But when they saw the tiny little girl come up next to him, the applause faded into confused murmurs. Oh god, please don't tell me everyone thought Kurisu was going to be here and we got this fucking tiny girl instead. Maho must have expected this. Her expression didn't change in the slightest as she stood next to the professor. In fact, when she took the microphone from the professor and looked around to the theater, she looked like she belonged there.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. First, Dr. Leskinen began to speak in English. When he made eye contact with Maho, she began to interpret.
Thank you for attending.
Everyone, thank you for attending my seminar.
I am Alexis Leskinen.
My name is Alexis Leskinen, and I'm with Victor Crondria University Brain Science Institute. My specialty is brain signal processing systems and artificial intelligence theory. And I'm his assistant, Maho Hiesho. I'm also a researcher at the Institute, working under the professor. I'm glad to meet you all.
The audience started murmuring again. That was the same way I responded when I met her. Well, that'll happen, yeah.
Now, without further ado,
I'd like to get right into introducing some of the cutting-edge research we've been doing.
I'm not gonna lie. English, Japanese, what? I'm pointing, y'all can't see that. I've got English in one ear and Japanese in the other, and it's really off-putting because what he says is slightly different from what she says.
I know today's theme is revolution in artificial
The topic we're discussing today is the artificial intelligence revolution. But I think the system we're going to demonstrate today goes beyond anything you've ever imagined.
Dr. Leskinen stood in front of the laptop that had been placed on the podium and started to type.
This terminal here is connected to one of the
This computer is linked to one of the supercomputers in our labs. Oh, don't turn on the projector just yet.
One of the staffers was about to display the laptop screen on the front projector. Some kind of important program must have been booting up because Maho Hiesho had stopped them.
Sorry, this is all
Sorry, this stuff isn't complete yet. The screen's full of programs that aren't very pretty to look at.
I'm trying to give it like a more angry sounding voice. I don't know if it comes across.
It isn't very pretty to look at.
Honestly, I'm
I'd rather let you see me naked. I'd rather let you see me naked than let you see our lousy programs.
Any engineers out there?
If there are any engineers in the audience today, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Some of the audience got the professor's joke and laughed.
Anyway, what are the spaces?
While it's booting up, I'd like to go over the basic ideas of the system.
There was another projector in the center of the stage. A diagram appeared on its screen. And at the top of the diagram was a Japanese translation for the general audience. An analysis of neural pulse signals relating to the memory stored in the temporal lobe. Oh, fuck. We're time leaping again. This is exactly what Kurisu put into her time leap machine. I knew that title well. In fact, I was sure I could never forget it. It was the title for an essay written by a 17-year-old genius girl and published in Science. She completely analysed the nerve impulse patterns that govern human memory and used that to digitize the memories themselves into data. And she had used that to invent the time leap machine right in front of my eyes. Though, none of that had actually happened anymore.
We've actually been featured in a
This paper appeared in Science, so I'm sure some of you have seen it before.
It was proposed by a very talented Japanese member of our team.
This theory was proposed and finalized by a brilliant Japanese member of our team.
Yeah, she dead now.
Human memories are stored in the cerebral
Human memories are stored in the cerebral cortex,
a little
particularly the temporal lobe. There's a lot like flash memory.
the part of the temporal lobe that controls the
Part of the brain that reads and writes this flash memory is called the hippocampal gyrus.
Dr. Leskinen pointed at the diagram of the brain and the hippocampus on screen.
The brain works by transmitting electrical signals between cells.
The brain functions by sending electrical signals between cells called neurons.
What we call memories are just those.
Memories are actually just the transmission of these electrical signals, and it's the hippocampal gyrus that controls them.
I know this isn't the point or like the place to be asking this, but I'd like to put my hand up in IRL and say, like, is this like IRL confirmed? Like, do we know this for 100% sure? Because if so, like, why is no one doing this? I can think of a few good reasons, but never mind.
In other words, electrical signals passing through the
In other words, memories are created by passing electrical signals in and out of the hippocampal gyrus.
that was a foundation for
So
Kurisu Makase, the Japanese scientist who wrote this paper,
and excuse me, I mean Mizumaki
Miss Makase came up with an idea.
You see here, electrical signals, signal patterns,
Electrical signal patterns, the cerebral cortex.
Maho started to have trouble with her interpreting. She was getting confused. No matter how good you were with languages, interpreting for a long period of time had to be difficult. I once read an article on the internet that said even a professional can't do it for more than 20 minutes. International conferences and live broadcasts from overseas were actually handled by a team of people switching off. Or maybe... was she having trouble because of Kurisu's name came up? Dr. Leskinen saw she was having a hard time, having trouble, and cut himself off.
I'm sorry.
Mizumaki focus on the patterns entering and exiting the
Miss Makase focused on the patterns of electrical signals going in and out of the hippocampal gyrus.
By analyzing those patterns,
By analyzing the patterns, she was able to get a complete data on which memory in the cerebral cortex it corresponded to.
this data allows her to take the general memory signals.
This created the basic theory that let us take the vague analog thing we call memories and turn it into a digital combination of electrical signals.
Mizumaki published her research in several journals.
The result was her paper, which appeared in Science.
And now, based on her theory, our team has developed
And right now, our team is using that theory to create a system to turn a person's memories into digital data.
A wave of whispers swept across the theater.
In other words,
Which means
this system allows human memories to be stored
we can store and access a human's memories on a computer.
We're gonna bring back Kurisu! But as a computer! The whispers turned into a low roar. I see. So even after her death, Kurisu's research was being carried on. Of course, maybe it was maybe it was natural that it would be. That was the basic theory for time leaping, which I had proven myself, even if I could never prove it to anyone else in the Alpha World line. My memories had been turned into a data and stored on a computer. There was no doubt about it. And what Dr. Leskinen was talking about right now was the basic technology required for that process.
There are two major projects we're making right now. One uses this system for medical applications.
I think this one actually exists now that I think about it. The slide and the projector changed.
This project is a joint effort with the...
Oh, fucking hell.
Psychophysiology lab.
That wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. It just took me a moment.
The idea is to use the hippocampal gyrus to put the memories stored on a computer back into the brain.
Incredible!
That man likes it. Someone who looked like a grad student in the front row shouted. Dr. Leskinen didn't seem particularly put off by the interpretation. Mahiro continued her interpretation.
You don't believe it? I know how you feel.
Did I call her Mahiro? I might have meant Maho.
Incredible, huh? I can understand how you feel. I would feel the same way in your position.
But let me just ask you.
We just feel this research is making real progress. How wonderful would it be if we could make this work?
We could treat memory loss in the elderly or
One example would be memory problems caused by aging or Alzheimer's. This would be a form of symptomatic therapy.
anyone's memories could be
You could automatically back up the patient's memories as data.
even if a memory is lost.
Even if the patient loses their memories, they could just go to their PC and reinstall them.
I'm not gonna lie, when you phrase it like that, it's mildly terrifying.
We could halt the progress of senility and dementia.
We think this would be a way to stop memory loss.
Eventually, it would be possible to directly
In the end, we hope to make memory data stored on your PC constantly accessible via the hippocampal gyrus.
So if the blame were to loss significant functionality,
This would mean that if the brain functionality were lost, for example, if the brain were badly damaged or atrophied,
the system would essentially
brain functionality could still be maintained.
think of it like an external hard drive.
It works like a form of external storage.
A strange feeling gripped the hall. Part of it was shock and the feeling that they were witnessing the announcement of incredible technology. Part of it was skepticism that the system like this could never actually work. Part of it was the revulsion at the idea of playing around with a human brain like that. An excitement born between all these things passed from one member of the crowd to another. Dr. Leskinen raised his hand to encourage
I'm
questions.
seeing some of you have questions.
It looks like I need to take questions before I move on to the next project.
I'll answer as many as I can. Go ahead.
I'll answer anything I can. Go ahead.
Many hands were raised. I could tell there was a wide age range of people interested. Both young and old were raising their hands. Dr. Leskinen pointed to a questioner. This was the first question. Sampling will be required when digitizing analog memories. Does that mean any information will be lost? The professor nodded as he listened to the question in Japanese and began to respond in English where the speaker finished. Maybe he was able to understand Japanese, if not speak it.
Let me live this.
To put your question another way,
You're talking about attempting to
you're saying that when you're saving a live recording you're saying that when we're saving a live recording of an orchestra as a WAV file, it's impossible to record everything.
That's certainly a concern.
That is a good question. And it's one of the biggest problems facing our research right now.
Now, if the intercerebral network is simple on-off state,
If the network within the brain consisted simply of neurotransmitters turning on and off, that is, exchanging binary data, the problem would be simple.
after all, that's how our computer
That would be the exact same as a computer's digital data. But we know that neurotransmitters and electrical signals form an analog network within the brain.
I'm glad Steins Gate keeps the tradition of, like, BAM! Opening thing, get hit in the face with science, bitch.
So at present, the best
この
solution
問題
is
に関しては
The only way to have a real...
より
The
高い
only
サ
way
ン
we
プ
have
リングレ
to
ート
deal
で
with
デ
this
ータを
problem
サ
right
ンプル
now
す
is
る
to
方
sample
法
at
し
a
か
higher rate.
手段
in musical teams you could
音
say
楽の
it's
話
like
で言えば
To continue our music example, instead of sampling at 44.1 kilohertz, we'd sample at 48 kilohertz.
48
And
キロ
instead
ヘルツよ
of
りも
48, we'd use 96
96キロヘルツでサ
kilohertz.
ンプリングするといった具合です
it's still digital data of course
それによっ
but
て
information
This allows us to recreate something very close to
アナログ
the
データに
original
近
analog
い情報
data
を得よ
digitally.
うとしています
Little by little, the mood in the room was turning to disappointment. People were beginning to wonder if this was just a pretty theory that wouldn't work in reality. More questions came. All the questionnaires were skeptical at the professor's theory, and many of them seemed to be outright challenging him. I started to get upset. This was Dr. Leskanen's research, but it was also Kurasu's. I know better than anyone that it worked, and the sight of so many people refusing to give it a chance infuriated me. Are these people really scientists? I tried to keep myself under control and looked back toward the podium. Was she mad? She certainly looked disappointed. Dr. Leskanen was very polite with the rude questioners, acknowledging the problems with the theory. She was very different. Her anger was starting to seep into her interpreting too. I felt a kind of kinship with her. The question and answer session continued. From a medical standpoint, this is just reckless. It's absolutely impossible to rewrite digital data back into the brain. It's insane. I read the essay in Science, and I have to say, I don't believe it. Especially since the lead author was a 17-year-old girl. That was the one thing I couldn't ignore.
あなたね
Listen!
Objection!
あ
Huh?
The two people on the stage and the entire audience all turned toward me at once.
やってみもしないで
How do you know it wouldn't work when you haven't even tried?
最初は無理だと思われ
The
て
world's full of technologies that people would never thought would work.
でも
But they exist now because people overcame those
今がある
problems.
んだろうただ批判するだけじゃ
Criticism alone doesn't help anything. The whole theater went silent. But I didn't regret standing up.
あなた
You?
On the stage, Maho Hiyosho was staring at me in shock. And as for Dr. Leskanen, I saw a flash of white teeth as our eyes met.
Awesome. He's really something.
Hey, I kind of want to do bad Russian, but I don't know if, like, that's it with just because his surname is Leskanen. He started to applaud. Huh? Why was he applauding? That just makes things embarrassing.
素晴らしい
Awesome. He's really something, the professor says.
ですって
Maho translated the professor's words for me to hear.
Nonetheless,
Tadashi.
scientists must always remain
科
calm.
学者
scientists
たる
must
もの
always remain
常に
calm
冷
at
静
all
でなければい
times.
けない
Yeah, about that. I'm assuming I've left the Chuny phase behind.
The only time when
大
it
声
is
で怒
possible
鳴って
to
いいのは
shout is
The only time when you're allowed to yell is when your experiment succeeds. And you say,
we did it,
We did it
we did it.
and that should be enough.
それだけで十分
That is all you need, he
だそう
says.
ですよ
すみません
I'm sorry. I lowered my head and sat down. I thought I was calm, but I guess I let my emotions get away from me. I hadn't grown up at all in the past 6 months. If Kurisu was here, she'd make fun of me again. I could feel the rest of the audience staring at me coldly. It hurt. If I could have left, I would have wanted to, but I was too interested in hearing the rest of Dr. Leskanen's talk to move.
And anyway, moving on.
それでは
Alright,
皆さ
everyone,
ん
moving
そろ
on.
そろ
Oh, first, a round of
で
applause,
も
please,
But first, how about a round of applause for our brave audience member?
No, no, please, don't give me that shit. No, please, no. Maybe I'm more like Okabe than I gave myself credit for.
Men like him are what drives scientific progress.
Challenges like him are the ones who advance science and come up with really amazing theories.
He may even become the third
彼なら
Einstein.
きっと
He may even become
第
capable
三
of
のアイ
becoming
ン
the
シュタイ
third
ンになれるかも
Einstein.
しれませんね。
Don't give me that shit. I left that behind 6 months ago.
The second Einstein, of course,
ち
would
な
be
み
my
に
slightly
第二のアインシュ
assistant.
タ
By
イ
the
ン
way,
は
the second Einstein is
ここ
my
にい
little
るちょっと
assistant
小う
here.
るさい私の助手。変なこと言うのは
Stop
やめて
messing
くだ
around,
さい
Professor.
教授
The audience chuckled. Sheesh.
さて、ここで私は
Now
しばら
then,
く
I'm
通
gonna take a
訳
break
を
from
お休みさ
interpreting.
せていただきます。これから私
The
よ
next
りも
interpreter
優
is
秀
far
な
better
通
than
訳
I
が
am.
登場します。これが私た
This
ち
is
の
our
チー
second
ムが
project and the one we're putting the
今
most
最
of our
も
efforts
力を
toward.
入れている2つ目のプロジェクト。アマデウスシステムです。
The Amadeus system.
When she finished speaking, Maho walked to the back of the stage. At Dr. Leskinen's signal, the PC screen was displayed on the projector. And then I heard a voice.
皆さん、初めてお目にかかり
Nice
ま
to
す。
meet you, everyone.
The murmuring got louder than before. But it still felt more uncertain than surprised. On the screen, I could see a detailed 3D model of Maho, the girl who'd just been interpreting.
ちなみにこれは映画などで有名な
By the way,
ドリンクワークススタジオ
This
に
model
撮
was
影
made
して
by
も
the
らった
famous
モデルです
Drinkworks Studios. You've probably seen their movies.
Maho Hyojo chimed in from the back of the
声
stage.
については私の
Voice was done by the
ボイスサンプルを
Japanese
データベース
company
にして
Yamana,
日本の
using
山
my
田が
voice
作ってくれま
samples.
した。
This was CG? Sure looked real to me. The professor said something into the laptop's microphone. And then the 3D model of Maho Hyojo on the screen opened its mouth.
私は比谷城真帆です。
I'm Maho Hyojo.
言うなら
To be precise, I'm
1時間20
I'm a being based on Maho Hyojo who existed 78 hours and 22 minutes ago.
If you listen carefully, you might be able to hear something slightly off. It sounded far more human than any AI I'd ever heard.
先ほどから皆さん
I've been listening to your questions,
いただいていました。教授はどうして私を
and I was wondering why the professor didn't introduce me earlier.
もどかしく思っていましたよ。以前から感じていましたが、
I thought for a while that the professor had a bit of a mean streak in him.
全くだわ。
You got that right.
The Maho Hyojo on the screen spoke with a slightly irritated expression. And the Maho Hyojo by the wall nodded in agreement. Dr. Leskinen simply smiled. What was going on here? What part of this was their biggest project? The rest of the audience didn't seem to have any more of a clue than I did.
皆さんの多くは疑問に思っています。
Many of you are wondering
人間の記憶をデータと
whether it's possible to extract a human's memories as data and save them and use
さ
them.
らにはそんなことが本当に
You're wondering if that's really something we can do.
それでは
So I'll put that question to you. If not, what am I?
私は
I am based off data that was extracted from Maho Hyojo's brain 78 hours and 23 minutes ago.
そのデータをベースにして動いているので
What did she just say? Professor said something in rapid English and asked the Maho on the screen to translate it. But she wasn't the right word, hesitated and went silent. It looked like the real Maho and she was responding exactly the same way.
教授今のは
Professor, is it alright if...
教授今の発言
Professor,
は
is it alright if I report that sexual harassment to the university?
Dr. Leskinen laughed cheerfully and responded to her. The conversation was in quick English and over half the audience couldn't understand it. The real Maho sighed and took back the microphone.
教授はですねその
Well, the professor,
私に対して
he told us this is the
私
Amadeus
の記
system,
憶で動作し
which
てい
is
る
based off of my
この
memories to
アマデウス
answer a
に対して
question.
質問に答えてごらんと言いました。
It was,
いつ頃まで
stuff like how old I was when I stopped taking
パパ
baths
と
with
お
my
風呂
dad.
に入っていたかとか、初恋はいつだったか
Oh,
とか、
when did I first fall in
何
love?
でも答えられるだろう
He。said any of those questions should be answerable.
Not if it hasn't happened.
jeez, you don't have to translate anymore.
恥ずかしいからやめてくれないかしら。
Could you stop that? It's embarrassing. I'm not answering any questions like that.
The professor said something else, and the Maho on the screen groaned and turned away.
クレジットカードの番号
I'm definitely not telling you my credit card number.
あと1週間
And
前
I don't even remember what kind of pajamas I was wearing a week ago.
What is this? It was so natural I couldn't tell at first, but this was something unbelievable, wasn't it? Felt very different than typical AI. I could tell that much. It wasn't answering the questions it was given? And because they were embarrassing? Was it programmed to respond like that to certain questions for the purposes of this demonstration? It was possible that it was, but if that conversation wasn't programmed in advance... The rest of the crowd seemed to reach the same conclusion as I did, and the whispers started to turn into surprised murmur.
ねえちょっと
Listen,
このいたずら
Can you do something about this little troublemaker?
何をしたいのか理解を
I know what he's trying to do, but it's embarrassing.
恥ずかしいわ
A copy of Maho was complaining to the original. It felt like I was watching a pair of twin sisters talking.
いたずら
Well,
が
since the little troublemaker, that is Dr. Leskinen, is having too much fun to explain what's going on here, I
代わり
will.
に私がお話しします
Maho walked back to the professor.
皆さんもうお
I
分かり
think
だと
everyone's
思い
already
ます
figured
が
this out, but
アマデウスは
Amadeus is deciding on what it can and can't talk about, and what it does and doesn't want to talk
話したい
about.
ことと話私たちは
We haven't
アマデウスに
programmed
そう
any
い
of
った
this
プログラムを
into
一切
her at all.
施していません
I knew it.
彼女は与えられた
It's
私
using the
の
memories
記
we
憶か
gave
ら
it to make its
それを
own
独自に判断
autonomous
し
decisions.
自律的にそういう行動をとっているのです
The Maho on screen suddenly took over for her.
そしてこれは
And there's another thing, which is the exact opposite of the medical applications we discussed. The research team spends a lot of time arguing about this, but
私は
I eventually forgot about unnecessary information.
というか
Or rather, I became unable to access those memories, just like all of you.
皆さんと同じようにです
Why would you make an AI that's forgetful?
例えば
For example, the color of the pajamas I wore a week ago. There's no reason I should know this, but right now I can't remember it.
今は思い出せませんそのような情報は
That's because the information isn't necessary to my
必要が
survival.
ないからです
The same goes for all of you.
これも皆さんと同じですこのようにアマデウス
So as you can see, Amadeus's memory inputs and outputs are very similar to a human's.
これは私たちも
This is a real surprise. This result surprised us too, and we're currently
ま
researching it.
だ詳しく
But
は
we still don't
説明されて
exactly
いま
know
せ
how
ん
it works.
As Maho finished up, Dr. Leskinen took the microphone back. She resumed interpreting as he continued the lecture.
However, what really surprised us
さらに
was that Amadeus
私たちを
Another
驚
thing
か
that
せたの
surprised us is
は
the Amadeus is
アマデ
capable
ウ
of
スが
deliberate
意図して
lies.
嘘をつくということ
and not as some sort
何
of
らかのトラブルや
By
ミスでは
deliberate,
なく
I mean it lies on its
わ
own
ざと
free
そう
will,
するのです
not as the result of any programming error.
lying is really just
嘘は
another method of human
Lies are one method that a human uses to communicate with another.
一つの手法です
Amadeus examined the memories
アマデウスも
and has no
インプ
And
ット
just
さ
like
れ
a
た
human,
記憶を
Amadeus
自
can
律
use
と
its
検
memories
証
to
し
decide if its lying would be best.
necessary.
If so, it would lie without hesitation.
平気で嘘をつきます教授誤
Don't
解を
tell
招く
them
ような
that,
言い方
professor.
をやめてください嘘をつくのに平気なことなん
I
てあ
can't
りま
lie
せん
without hesitation. I have a conscience, you know.
両親が咎めます
I'm so sorry and
Dr. Leskinen cut off. He seemed to be hesitating. Maho didn't seem especially surprised by this. Maybe she knew the reason. But the moment passed, and the professor continued. And Maho translated his words like there were nothing shocking about them at all.
this has led us to some
このような検証を続けてい
As
く
we
こと
continue
で
our research, we
最
eventually
終的
believe
に
that
私たちは
For one, we believe it's possible for
アマデウス
Amadeus
に
to give
it may be possible to give Amadeus a soul, just like a living
いる
human's.
のではないかと考えています
I was stunned. A soul? Should one of the leading brain scientists in the world really be using a word with such a vague definition?
In other words, true
これこ
artificial
そ
intelligence.
This would mean the creation of artificial intelligence in the true
と
sense.
いうことになります
Have you not watched Terminator? The whole hall got very quiet. And it was sheer chaos for a while after that, as everyone tried to debate in their own personal theories with Dr. Leskinen at once. Wow, this meal is fucking fancy, but do I want to call that an episode? I'll probably call that an episode. And I'll probably sit and record another one anyway, because I'm fucking mad and I haven't started crying yet, so that's, I'm not stopping until I reach that point. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the first episode of Steins Gate Zero. If this one runs anywhere near as long as Steins Gate, it's going to be around for a while, so, yeah, buckle up. Anyway, if you like the video in any capacity, please give the video a like down below. Leave a comment on whatever you feel like. And if you want to keep up to date with whenever I post videos, be they of this Persona 5 Royal or No More Heroes, which I swear it's coming back eventually. I just need to find some batteries. Yeah, if you want to keep up to date with whenever I post videos, be they whatever they are, consider subscribing to the channel. In theory, YouTube sends you alerts to when I post videos, but failing that, you made me feel good about subscribing, so thanks in advance. What? I hate this. I hate this. For those of you that don't know what this is, I can't move my mouse to my second fucking monitor to stop everything. God damn it. Anyway, that's the thing I need to fix in my own time. Thank you all for watching. I've been Nix, and I will see you guys next time. Laters!